Leo, we have the Express to kick off this section. Regardless of whether Rachel Reeves lied on her CV, I say she should be judged on her record in office and sacked.
Yeah. So number 10 claims Rachel Reeves, our Chancellor, is being straight with the public after CV lying was exposed. So the Guido Fawkes website revealed that she claimed she worked as an economist at the Bank of Scotland between 2006 and 2009. She was actually doing a much more mundane job of cleaning the toilets. No, I wouldn't trust her to clean a toilet. She was doing some sort of, just...
She was a cashier kind of thing, wasn't she?
Yeah, essentially. You know what I mean? They found something, she licked stamps or something. They found something she could do. But, I mean, I'm not sure that being an economist for the Bank of Scotland in 2006 would be much of a claim to fame anyway for Chancellor.
Steered them straight in.
The year before the biggest financial crash in our history. Are you insane? That should completely preclude you from holding any office whatsoever.
Absolutely. She's probably squeaked out of there at the last minute, just before they went over the rapids. I do quite like it. I have to say, that word economist, it's so vague, isn't it? I mean, I used to host a show about economics on Radio 4. I could probably put that down. I don't know that. She must, presumably, she has some sort of academic qualifications, doesn't she? She hasn't just kind of applied for the job of Chancellor off the back of a CV that she's printed up on a photostat.
I'm not sure. I mean, we've seen in socialist administrations around the world, they don't always get the most qualified people to sit
Well, to be fair, there's people are throwing that at Trump at the moment as well, aren't they? It's basically about tribal loyalty. What I have found quite funny is the number of people who remember working for her. They go, oh, yeah, Rachel on Till Number 6. I remember that. It's quite humanising in a way, given that she's such an android, generally speaking, the idea that she used to have a Saturday job. The other thing that's quite funny is I don't think she was sacked, but she left under something of a cloud because it emerged that she'd been leaving early or taking days off to go to Labour Council meetings.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
she knows how to live.
Imagine doing that with your sickie.
Yeah, that's like me when I started doing stand-up.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, we have Donald Trump now, Cressida. He has bad news in The Guardian for the millions who have volunteered to help deport their illegal neighbours.
Trump confirms he will utilise US military to conduct mass deportations. So, he's not... he doesn't want to deny this. It was an early morning social media post by... who was it by... I've forgotten the guy's name. I haven't written it down. That's not very good, is it?
Wetton.
Thank you. Who talked about this. And Trump's just not retweeted it. What do you call it on Truth Social? He's re-truthed it and just said, true. So it's extra true.
Re-truthed it.
Yes, he
That's
has.
going to become a word. Coin that. Get that into Chambers for the end of the year.
Like re-gifting.
Re-truthing. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to try and use it in every story for the rest of the show.
And of course,
so
all
he
the
re-truthed
Democrats...
this on Truth Social.
Yes, he did. So it's double true. But all the Democrats are saying, you can't possibly do this. It's not legal.
Yeah.
It'll cost too much. Remind you of anything?
Well, we saw a discussion about, didn't we, with the new guy he's put in charge of the border, saying how much it will cost, like 80 billion.
Yeah,
He's saying, well, I think it's worth it. What do you think?
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily does need to cost that much, actually, does it? Because, I mean, I don't know exactly what the mechanics of it would be, but I suspect quite a lot of them could be essentially sort of smoked out, don't you think?
Simon, they're not what?
It's metaphor. What I mean is withdraw benefits, just make it clear. What Theresa May used to call the hostile environment. That's all you need, You don't really need people to be
because
manacled.
people aren't making dangerous journeys for nothing.
Exactly, yeah,
that's a fair point.
And I think cutting their benefits is obviously going to save the state money. That's not spending money. That's actually not spending money. And the benefits aren't just benefits, aren't just, housing and money that they get given, EBT cards and stuff like that. Employers are actually subsidised to give them jobs because the Democrats were basically using this to tilt the electoral landscape, bringing loads of Haitians into swing states like Ohio.
They've already run, haven't they? The Haitians have run from Springfield.
Yeah,
They're no longer eating. The cats and the dogs are emerging from the shadows.
So why can't we do something like this here? Remember during COVID when there was, a national emergency, so, the borders were closed? Why can't we announce an emergency so the borders are closed? I mean, there's got to be legal avenues. To say that, we can't do it because it's not legal. Illegal immigrants aren't legal. So legality
and I think for the UK to watch what happens next is because we've had all of the woke culture and the gender ideology and everything come over. Will this come over? Will we get this next?
Oh, yeah, well, we've got... I mean, they're already coming over that. I was thinking, early days when Farage was exposing the RNLI, were picking these people up from, miles out. I think they need to create a new force, the RNDI, the Royal National Death Boats Institute. And they're a force of volunteers that put out to sea whenever there's a report, and they just nudge them back to France.
Right.
There doesn't need to be any sort of high explosives. I'm just saying, just
wow.
Wow,
let's get that clipped.
OK, that may be a bit strong. So the Daily Mail kick off this section for us, Leo. Bigots are openly celebrating the victory of a white so-called biological female in Miss Universe.
Yeah, that's how The Guardian would interpret it. So this is Miss Universe fans hailing the end of wokeness and crediting the Trump effect after a biological woman, there's still some of them around apparently, has won the 2024 crown. She's Miss Denmark, because obviously the last decade, it's just been obese transgender smurfs from Papua New Guinea. They're the only people allowed to win any beauty contest. You know what I mean? You're not allowed to have any.
Some of the trans women have won these. You definitely wouldn't say no.
Honestly, I've seen but I've seen some of them that didn't, and some that were clearly just there out of
have there been more than one trans woman who's won Miss? I didn't realise this.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've got a chart at home. But this one isn't trans. Victoria Kjær Thielvig, 21 of Denmark. Everything about that description says attractive.
Nazis. Okay, I have seen pictures of her. She is very attractive.
Yes.
She is.
Yes.
I don't know exactly how to put it, but she is kind of not retro or vintage or so. She's quite an old-fashioned notion of beauty, just absolutely ice blue eyes.
No penis.
Absolutely extraordinary. Clear skin and gorgeous blonde hair. I mean, it's absolutely kind of mid-70s, beauty pageant.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because reading this reminded me of Pan's People, because apparently she beat more than 120 contestants. The competition featured, and it lists all these... this is the 2023 one. But anyway, it talks about women being married as if that's relevant to beauty contest. I thought that was really funny. Pan's People, they had to leave if they got married.
It's the whole purpose of
it is
supposed
contest. To be. The subtext is supposed to be a bit like an auction block, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So this is like half a win. I was like, oh, brilliant, Trump. And I'm sort of with it, but also I'm like, oh, great. Now, apparently the sanity's returned to the beauty pageant industry. So they can get back to, sexualising 4-year-olds and promoting anorexia like they used to. So,
there is that,
She will earn an estimated $250,000 annual salary working full-time as Miss Universe, and will live in a luxurious New York City apartment as she carries out her duties, which involve glass coffee tables and rich Saudi businessmen.
Glass coffee tables. And visiting other planets and solar systems and constellations, I would imagine, in Miss Universe.
Being concerned about animals.
Yes, absolutely, and wanting to bring about world peace. I miss those days. The Guardian now, Leo, and you'll never guess what they think schools and colleges should be teaching more about.
Oh, my God. So schools and colleges in England are accused of failing in their legal duty to tackle racism. So campaigners want anti-racist content to be embedded in the curriculum and for black history to be a compulsory subject. So they want to sort of segregate black history away from white history and have it in its own space. Presumably this is going to extend to segregated spaces on the bus, segregated drinking fountains. I mean, when has segregation ever been a good idea? It's ridiculous. And also, I mean, all right, Britain's a multicultural, multi-ethnic country now, but it wasn't for a lot of its history. So if you're going to teach history, where are you going to look? Like the time in 1200 BC when we were all Nigerian? I mean, it doesn't work.
There was a thing this week which flared up on X, which was an image of a single black man who was representative of the English Civil War at a battlefield site, and people were arguing whether or not there had been any black participants, combatants in the Civil War. Well, I would have said 0. That would have been my guess, but maybe there were 1 or 2. It's certainly not enough for him to be representative. But there are all these social historians who are saying that representation matters and this history belongs to all of us. History can belong to all of you, whatever that means.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you get to falsify it and imply that, an entirely different demographic were involved in it.
Absolutely. And it says here racism is holding all young people back. That's quite a statement, isn't it? I'd love to see how you arrived at that, because I don't exactly know what you mean by that. I think probably poor education and maybe an over-feminised society and a lack of responsibility, those things might be holding young people back, I would guess.
They're certainly not being held back, I would say, from, I mean, like TV dramas. We see something like Bridgerton, which is obviously a kind of farcical, fantastical reimagining. I'm fine, I don't watch it, but I'm fine with things like that. If you're trying to present actual history, it is important to recognise what the truth was. I would feel horribly patronised if I were to go to, I don't know, Japan and have like a picture of me there, as you know, at the inauguration of Emperor Hirohito.
But unfortunately, our academics and our scientists, in a lot of cases, see, you know, the greater social good of this sort of forced multiculturalism, forced multi-ethnicity as justifying lying when they're presenting history to us, and also the justification they give for saying that, you know, we're so deeply despicably racist. They say there's been a 23% increase in the number of pupils suspended for racist abuse. That's because people get suspended for racist abuse for tiny little things. A child was asked, like a young child, I think she was about 7, she was asked to describe her friends. And, you know, her friend is black, so she said, oh, she's chocolate. Which is a nice thing, you know, a nice thing. You know, she obviously likes chocolate because she's a kid. And, you know, with like suspended, she's probably been in jail now. She's doing a 3-year sentence under Starmer's.
Do you remember there was I can't remember her name, Kate something. Kate Clancy, was it? She published a book of amazing poems that she had managed to withdraw from the... She said exactly one of her girls had almond-shaped eyes, which is a beautiful compliment, but was apparently racially coded. And
people are so hypersensitive.
Unbelievable. Kids are not naturally like that. Kids are much happier to just speak as they find, you know, and everyone relaxes and get on with it.
The only historians you can trust are ones who've been called bigots.